Virgo. There are messages that inform, and there are messages that land somewhere else entirely, somewhere past the mind, past the thinking, somewhere in the body, in the chest, in that place that knows things before they are explained. This is one of the second kind. Welcome. Settle in completely. There are moments in a life, not many, a handful at most, moments that function as a before and an after, a line drawn across the timeline of who you are. On one side, everything you were, everything you knew, every story you told yourself about what was possible for you. On the other side, something else, something that has not yet been named because you have not yet lived it, because it has not yet arrived. You are approaching one of those moments. I want to sit with that statement for a second rather than rush past it to explain it, because this is not the kind of thing that benefits from being explained quickly. It benefits from being felt, from being allowed to reach you at whatever depth it needs to reach. You are approaching a line, a threshold, the kind that changes everything that comes after it, not incrementally, not gradually, but fundamentally, in the way that only a genuine new beginning can. The kind where something that was one thing becomes another thing entirely, and there is no returning to what it was before. Not because before was bad, but because after is more fully yours. I want to say something about thresholds because I think most people misunderstand them. A threshold is not a destination. It is a crossing, and the crossing itself, the act of moving through it, is where the transformation actually happened. Not before, not after. In the crossing, and crossings require something of you. They require you to move, to step, to choose the other side, even when you cannot yet see exactly what the other side looks like, even when the view from here is clearer than the view from there, even when staying is technically safer than crossing. The threshold is asking you to move, not to leap, not to run, simply to move one deliberate step in the direction of what is forming, and trust that the path solidifies as you walk it, because it always does, for people who are willing to walk without the guarantee of every stone being placed before the foot lands, because it is the most important word in this message, and I think you need to understand it correctly. Unexpected does not mean unearned. Whatever is coming toward you arrived through the accumulation of everything you have been, everything you have done, every quality you have developed through the seasons that tested you, every value you held when holding it was costly, every morning you chose to keep moving towards something, even when that something was not yet visible. The unexpected nature of it is simply that you could not have mapped the route in advance. You could not have predicted the specific form it would take, the specific door it would come through, the specific moment it would choose to arrive. But you prepared for it, even without knowing exactly what you were preparing for. You prepared by becoming someone worthy of receiving it. And that preparation is complete. Now I want to speak about the loss of words because this too is specific, and I want to make sure you understand what kind of silence is coming. There's the silence of devastation. When something takes your words because the pain of it is too large for language, that is not this. There is the silence of confusion. When something takes your words because you cannot understand what is happening, that is not this either. What is coming is the silence of awe. The particular wordlessness that arrives when something is so much larger than what you expected, so much more complete, so much more aligned with what you secretly hoped for, but never fully let yourself believe was possible. That language simply does not have the container for it yet. That is the silence coming for you, the sacred kind, the kind that is not emptiness, but fullness, so complete that it overflows the edges of every word you know. Whew. I want to paint you a picture of what I see forming in the energy ahead of you, because I think you need an image, something to hold, rather than just words. Imagine standing at a window, the kind that looks out over something vast, something you cannot see the edges of, and the light outside is changing. Not the small shift of an ordinary afternoon, but the way the light changes at the very beginning of a new season, when something that has been gray for so long begins to warm, and the warmth arrives with a quality, a richness, a depth of color that makes everything look new. Even the things that were always there, that is the energy of what is coming. Not new circumstances necessarily, though there may be those too, but a new light falling on everything that makes it all look different, feel different, breathe differently, and you standing in it, unable to find the words, because the words are not the point. The feeling is the point, and the feeling is more than enough. I want to talk now about what has been happening in you to bring you to this threshold, because I do not think you have fully given yourself credit for it. You have been doing something extraordinary. In the seasons that looked ordinary from the outside, in the periods that felt like stagnation, like waiting, like nothing moving, like you were standing still while the world kept going. You were not standing still. You were going deep. There is a difference between the person who moves along the surface, covering ground quickly, accumulating experiences and things and momentum, and the person who stops and goes down into the roots, into the foundation of who they are, into the places that most people never visit, because visiting them requires sitting with discomfort that most people prefer to keep moving to avoid. You went down into all of it, into the questions that had no comfortable answers, into the losses that had no clean resolution, into the parts of yourself that needed tending before you could build something real on top of them. And what you built, going deep in the invisible seasons, is a foundation that can hold something enormous. The new beginning that is coming needs exactly that foundation could only be placed on exactly that foundation, which is why it waited, which is why the timing was not earlier. Not because the universe forgot you, not because you were being punished with delay, but because what is coming required a version of you that was only available now. After all of that going down, after all of that invisible building, you are that version now, fully, completely, without the parts that needed to fall away still attached, without the stories that needed to be released still running, without the old definitions of what was possible for you still limiting what you are willing to receive. You are ready, in the deepest sense of the word. Now I want to speak to the doubt, because even at a threshold, even at the edge of something enormous, the doubt is always there, faithful, consistent, doing its job. The doubt will say, this is too big. This is too good. Things like this do not happen for people in my situation. I have hoped before and been disappointed. This is just another version of that. And I want to say something to that doubt, not to dismiss it, but to contextualize it. Every time you have hoped before, you were right to hope, even when it did not arrive in the form you expected. The hope itself was accurate. It was pointing towards something real. Even when the specific manifestation of it was not yet ready, this time, the hope and the readiness are arriving together at the same moment, at the same threshold. And that convergence is what makes this different from the times before. I want to leave you with something to hold as you move toward what is coming, as you approach this line, this threshold, this before and after. The words will not come immediately, and that is okay. You do not need words yet. You only need to be present, to stay open, to resist the urge to immediately process and analyze and explain to yourself what is happening. Before you have let yourself fully experience what is happening, let the wordlessness come. It is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. More right than anything you have words for yet. More right than your existing vocabulary can contain. The words will come later, when you have lived in it for a while, when your language has had time to expand to meet what arrived, when you look back from the other side of the threshold and find yourself able to describe what the view looks like from the place you were always meant to be standing. For now, just walk toward it with every part of you, with your whole self, without holding anything back for safety. Because what is waiting on the other side of this threshold is worth every single thing you ever went through. To arrive here, take the step